Bong Joo-hyuk, a young man with messy black hair, wearing a gray hoodie and blue jeans, walked down a grimy alleyway. As he passed two men sitting on the ground, one of them spat, causing the other to complain that it splashed on his foot. He kept walking, his sneakers splashing through the runoff from the garbage piles. This studio district was always loud and filthy, day in and day out. Tucked away inside this chaotic area was his tiny 180-square-foot rooftop home. Bong Joo-hyuk was 25 and unemployed, but he juggled 3 part-time jobs: convenience store, BBQ joint, and day labor. Even working like a dog, he could never save money. The reason was simple: debt. A debt he had to pay off, no matter how miserably he had to live. He had no special skills, just a working body, so there was no bright future waiting for him. He sat down to eat a bowl of ramen, thinking, He thought about his mediocre, bottom-feeder life. Suddenly, a bright blue light flashed around him and a system message appeared. Bong Joo-hyuk has awakened. The light was so bright it made him jump back, spilling his ramen. F***CK, you scared the SH**T out of me, he yelled, looking at the glowing blue screen. He stared at the words, confused. Awakening. Me, he wondered, still holding his chopsticks. Awakening was a blessing, a chance to completely turn your life around, even better than winning the lottery. But there was a catch. You could only enjoy it if you were alive. Entering the tower was incredibly dangerous. You could be torn apart by a monster or freeze to death, or burn alive in extreme climates. You could even die from poisoning. Falling into a trap and getting crushed to death was also a real possibility. These were just some of the many ways to die a dog's death in the tower, as taught by Safety Star instructor Bong Joo-hyuk. The man, Bong Joo-hyuk, with his dark, messy hair, said he generally turned a blind eye to injustice, avoided dangerous situations at all costs, and never even walked under construction sites. He was a nobody, a bottom feeder, and he had lived that way for 25 years. But then something happened. Was this really an awakening, or had he just dozed off because he was tired? Suddenly he cried out, "S-status window." A blue glowing system window appeared before him. He reached out his hand, eyes wide with disbelief. It's real. It's not a dream. He realized his special ability, his trait, was summoning. He knew that those who awakened were given a unique ability called a trait. These traits varied wildly from swordsmanship, spearmanship, shield arts, archery, and martial arts, to gigantification, heavy swing, summoning, and healing. Summoning, in particular, involved calling forth spirits, phantom beasts, golems, demonic beasts, and other creatures. It was basically the power to command specific types of summoned beings. He felt a thrill of excitement, wondering what kind of summoner he would become. He quickly tried to use his new skill. "Skill summon," he shouted, thrusting his hand forward. After a moment, he looked down at his hand, a little confused. "Random summon," he mumbled, blushing slightly. He tried to use his skill, but nothing happened. He looked confused, a big question mark appearing over his head. Then he remembered. Right. It doesn't work outside," he said, scratching his head. "A player's abilities and skills only work inside the tower and can't be used in the outside world." The image of the tower appeared, glowing with purple energy. Outside the tower, a player is just like any normal person, except they can still check their system status window. He felt a bit silly. Anyone with an internet connection knows that. "I feel like such an idiot," he thought, looking down. He realized there was no way a skill would actually activate outside the tower. Suddenly, a blue system window appeared before him, declaring initiating random summon. He stared wide-eyed as a bright purple light erupted around him, forming a magical circle. From the swirling light, a man with short brown hair and a confident smile materialized. He wore a dark hooded tunic with silver armor pieces. The main character's jaw dropped. Wait, why is this working?" he thought, completely stunned. The summoned man saluted with a grin, saying, "That's right, sir. I'm a human." The main character could only stare in disbelief, thinking, what the hell? The main character couldn't believe it. He had successfully summoned someone even though he wasn't in the tower, and it wasn't a spirit or a golem but a human. A man with reddish-brown hair and a black outfit, who seemed to be the summoned one, just sat there, smoking a cigarette and looking relaxed. Suddenly, the summoned man's nose twitched. He sniffed the air, his eyes widening. He instantly recognized the smell. Ramen. May I have just one bite?" he asked, practically drooling. The main character watched in disbelief as the summoned man, now looking incredibly happy, started slurping down his ramen. He couldn't believe he had summoned a just one-bite moocher. The summoned man devoured the ramen with loud slurps. But then his face contorted. His SSH*T, he hissed, his mouth burning. They must have released a new spicy flavor. The main character just stared, thinking he thinks mild udon is spicy. He's a just one-bite moocher and a total spice wimp. The main character, a young man with black hair, was completely baffled. He couldn't figure out how a skill could even work outside of the tower, let alone summon a human. He had never even heard of such a thing. Blue system window popped up, explaining that summoned humans and demi-humans had grades. R rare, SR super rare, SSR special super rare, and LSSR legend special super rare. It also said that seamless communication was possible between the summoner and the summoned. "There are grades," he thought, seeing the different colored shields for each rank. It's like I'm pulling for game characters or something. Another blue system window appeared, telling him that the summoned was bound by 3 mandates. 3 mandates? He wondered, looking surprised. The mandates were clear. First, the summoned had to protect the summoner's life above all else. Second, the summoned had to obey the summoner's commands absolutely. And third, if the first 2 mandates ever conflicted, the first one took priority. The red-haired man, still drinking from his bowl, made the main character wonder, then who exactly is that human? That summoned one. Suddenly, a purple system window appeared, showing a catalog entry. The Cruel Guild's Insane Assassin John Cossack. Grade SR Super Rare. Type Assassin Human. Manifestation limit 6 hours. Satisfaction rating none. Cooldown 3 hours applied after dismissal. John Cossack was a complete lunatic, the biggest headache for the Cruel Assassin Guild. But even with his wild nature, his mission success rate was an incredible 99%. He even managed to assassinate a 5th Circle Dark Mage. However, his final moments were not so great. Suddenly, a wave of random memories flooded his mind, making him clutch his head in pain. His eyes snapped open, glowing with a bright blue light as he felt a strange energy surge through him. He was falling through a vibrant, swirling vortex of purple and blue light. As he got closer to the ground, he could see a man with short black hair and a black outfit looking up at him. "Whoa," the man exclaimed as John Cossack, now glowing with blue energy, landed right in front of him. The man looked down, confused, as John Cossack, now glowing with blue energy, landed right in front of him. He wondered what was happening. Suddenly, a powerful shockwave exploded outwards from John. He had just used a skill called Shockwave of the Blue Dragon. The man watched in disbelief as the other enemies around them were instantly torn apart by the attack. This was a massacre. A red ribbon fluttered to the ground, followed by a severed head. The man, who had been watching the whole time, looked at John Cossack, who was now holding another severed head with a red bow tied around it. John Cossack, with a sly smile, asked why he was gift-trapping their heads. He wondered if they were supposed to be presents. His end came from a single mistake. The target he was supposed to assassinate was the Empire's strongest sword master. The sword master, with short red hair and piercing blue eyes, moved with incredible speed, slicing through his opponent. The attack sent the man flying, blood splattering as he hit the ground. Suddenly, the sword master appeared right in front of the man, startling him so much he fell backward with a shout. The sword master, with his short red hair and dark armor, quickly apologized, asking if the man had any orders for him. The man, still on the floor, felt a tremor of fear. He remembered the system message. Summoned beings were supposed to show absolute obedience to their summoner. He took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. He then pointed to a ramen pot and a table, telling the sword master, Mr. Cossack, to clear the pot and wipe the table. Cossack immediately sprang into action, moving with incredible speed and efficiency. The man watched, surprised by Cossack's speed and the fact that he didn't complain at all. He realized Cossack was truly doing everything he said. The main character asked Cossack if absurd requests were out of the question. Cossack, with his red hair and dark clothing, was diligently wiping a table. He grinned and said he would obey his summoner's words unconditionally. The main character, with his black hair and dark eyes, looked a little nervous. He thought for a moment and then asked Cossack to bark for him. Cossack's eyes widened in shock, and he looked horrified. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. The main character watched Cossack, who was still frozen in place, and wondered if he had gone too far. He knew Cossack used to be a powerful person, and he worried about what would happen if he snapped. But then, Cossack started barking like a dog, wagging his tail and making cute puppy noises. He was completely committed to the absurd request. The main character watched, a small smile forming on his face. He realized Cossack's obedience was truly absolute. Suddenly, loud banging echoed through the room. The main character looked up, startled as the door rattled violently. He realized with a shock that he had completely forgotten something important. "SH*T, I totally forgot. Today is the day the interest is due," he exclaimed. He quickly told Cossack to hurry and get up, and Cossack immediately responded, "Roger that." He remembered borrowing 10 million won. No bank would lend to him, so out of desperation, he went to a loan shark. His father had fractured his hip after slipping on ice, and he needed money for the surgery. Plus, his little brother's college tuition was due, leaving him with no other choice. He had thought he could pay it back quickly, but the principal amount remained untouched, and he had already paid back over 5 million won just in interest. He thought about his choices, knowing that taking out the loan was a stupid move, but he felt he had no other option. Even if he could go back in time, he knew he would make the same decision. Suddenly, someone started banging on the door. "Jahyok, let me see your face. I just need to check if you're doing okay," the voice called out. Jahyok looked surprised and said, "Mr. Cossack." A man with short red hair, wearing dark armor and holding a sword, smiled menacingly. He told Jahyok, "Just give the order. I will sever his head and bring it to you." But Jahyok shook his head. "No, that's not it. He's going to cause a disaster." Jahyok quickly pushed the man towards a bathroom, telling him, "Hide in the bathroom and don't move a muscle. Keep your mouth shut and don't make a sound." The man asked, "See, can I breathe?" Jahyok quickly replied, "Yes." The man sighed in relief. "Phew, that's a relief." The door burst open, and a large, bald man with a scar on his head and a gold chain around around his neck grabbed Jaehyuk by the shoulder. "Bong Jaehyuk, you're looking healthy," he said with a creepy smile. He continued, "When the interest payment didn't come through, I was worried you might be sick or something." Jaehyuk, looking nervous, apologized. "I forgot." "I'm sorry." The man with the gold chain, his face contorted into a sinister grin, told Jaehyuk not to push himself too hard. He suggested that if things got desperate, Jaehyuk could always sell an organ. He said life gets a whole lot easier with just one kidney. Then one of his thugs, a man with a patterned shirt and dark hair, asked if Jaehyuk had a little brother. The boss confirmed that the brother would work too, adding that the younger they were, the better the price. Jaehyuk's eyes widened, and his face filled with rage, a dark aura seemingly radiating from him. The boss noticed Jaehyuk's intense stare. What's with that look? You look like you're itching to take a swing at me," he said, his own face scarred and menacing. Jaehyuk quickly changed his expression, forcing a nervous laugh and scratching his head. "Come on, boss. No way. As if I'd ever do that," he said, trying to play it off. The boss just narrowed his eyes and warned Jaehyuk to watch himself, unless you want to die without a soul ever knowing. Jaehyuk let out a sigh as the boss walked away. Jaehyuk let out a sigh, and a man with red hair and dark clothing appeared, startling him. The man, Mr. Cossack, had been perfectly hidden and quiet, just as Jaehyuk had commanded. Jaehyuk felt suddenly tired. Double shifts, an awakening, a human summon, and a visit from loan sharks. It was all too much. He wondered if he should really climb the tower to deal with his debt, but then he thought, no, money is great, but there's no way a coward like me could survive climbing the tower. He asked Mr. Cossack what he should do now. Cossack, with a wide grin, offered to dismiss the summon if Jaehyuk wanted to return. Jaehyuk, seeing an opportunity, asked if he could watch some TV. Jaehyuk watched TV, but it wasn't a happy show. He saw a woman crying, saying, "Yina is Seojong's daughter. Don't you dare try to see your child again. How could you do this to me?" It made him feel a little sad. Cossack, sitting next to him, smiled. He thought about how even though Jaehyuk was just a summoned being, having someone else nearby didn't feel so bad. He heard the woman on TV shout, "I will take revenge." "Mother." Jaehyuk, still watching the show, felt a strange comfort. It actually feels kind of comforting, he thought. Cossack looked away from the TV, a bright light shining behind him. He realized, right, until now I've been all alone, working myself to death. Suddenly, an alarm blared from Jaehyuk's phone. It was 8:00 a.m. He grumbled, MMPH. He sat in front of his computer, still half asleep, wondering if Mr. Cossack had been released yet. He figured it made sense since Cossack had a 6-hour time limit for manifestation. A blue system window popped up, confirming John Cossack has been released. He realized he might have even seen the system window in his sleep. Yawning, he stretched and decided to just get ready for work, whatever awakening meant. On the TV, a news anchor began to report breaking news. He walked into the kitchen, opening cabinets as the news reported that early this morning, in Jongno-gu, Seoul, at the offices of an illegal loan shark firm called Smile Cash, a gruesome murder had taken place. He froze, his eyes widening. Wait, did they say Smile Cash? He thought. The news continued, stating that 3 victims were found, all of them beheaded. The toothbrush he was holding dropped from his hand, clattering to the floor. The news anchor continued, adding that the most shocking part was that the victims' heads were found wrapped in red ribbons. He stared at the toothbrush on the floor, his mind reeling. Severed heads and red ribbons. Suddenly, a man with long brown hair dressed in dark armor appeared before him. He was holding 3 severed heads, each with a red ribbon tied around it. He smiled widely as he announced, John Cossack. The man, John Cossack, screamed, clutching his head in horror. He had just summoned a total psychopath murderer. A news report flashed across the screen, detailing a shocking murder on February 14th. The scene was gruesome. A blood-splattered room, a body on the floor, and severed hands wearing rings. The killer had even taken the heads of their victims, displaying them like trophies. Bong Joo-hyuk, his face contorted in terror, stared at his phone. I'm F***kid, he thought, his eyes wide with horror. He mumbled to himself, realizing what he was seeing. Just then, a deep voice cut through his thoughts. Excuse me, Tilda. He looked up to see a massive, headless figure, its hands holding a severed head. The figure asked, Aren't you going to ring me up? He screamed, completely freaked out by the headless figure, and stumbled backward, knocking over a display of goods. A female customer holding a gift looked at him with concern. Are you okay? She asked. He just mumbled, He quickly apologized. I'm sorry. I'll ring you up right away. He was clearly flustered. Later outside, he realized he couldn't work in this state. People walked past him, laughing and chatting, as he decided to take a break from all his part-time jobs tomorrow. He let out a sigh, the snowy air around him sparkling. He looked at the happy couples and friends walking by, thinking about the people who were dying. As the snow fell gently over the city, a blue system window popped up, showing a new entry in his catalog, Cruel Guild's Crazy Assassin. The assassin's name was John Cossack, and he was a super rare human assassin. He could be manifested for 6 hours, had no satisfaction limit, and a resummon cooldown of 3 hours after dismissal. The man sat on the floor of his apartment, looking at the blue screen. He knew the assassin wouldn't harm him, his summoner, but it still felt a little scary. He reached out his hand and called out, John Cossack, designated summon. Suddenly, a bright light flashed, and a new system message appeared before his eyes. He blinked, confused, and wondered what was happening. The message read, "Before designated summon, please leave a satisfaction rating for John Cossack." A blue system window appeared, asking him to move his finger to give a star rating. He realized this was why the catalog mentioned a satisfaction rating. He thought about giving John Cossack just 1 star for being so insolent, especially after being told to watch TV, but instead committing murder he didn't even order. He felt like John was making him, a small citizen, go through all this trouble. He really wanted to give just 1 star, but he couldn't be that heartless. He settled on 3 stars, and a blue system window confirmed. John Cossack's satisfaction rating has been set to 3 stars. He knew how heartbreaking a low rating could be, because his mother used to work as a rental water purifier coordinator. So even with complaints, he couldn't bring himself to give only 1 star. A system window popped up, saying John Cossack has been designated summoned. John Cossack, a man with short red hair and a black outfit, appeared with a big smile, saluting. "Loyalty, glad to see you again," he said cheerfully. He then bowed deeply, almost like a puppy, saying, "Thank you for the 3 stars. I will try harder." The main character looked at him thinking he's innocent. Did this person really kill 3 people? He then asked, "You by any chance?" The main character looked shocked as he continued, "Those men who came to my house yesterday, did you kill them, Mr. Cossack?" John Cossack giggled, gasp. "That is correct. I took care of them last night, just before being unsummoned." The main character's eyes widened in horror, realizing gasp. As expected, this person was the culprit. He stepped back, his heart pounding. "Then what's in front of my eyes right now is a murderer," he thought, his stomach churning and heart racing. He tried to calm himself down, thinking, "Let's calm down. At least he won't harm me." The man with the black coat and dark hair who had just appeared asked the other man, "How did you know where their office is?" The man with the black coat explained that he had planted a mark of pursuit on the thugs who had broken into Summoner Bong's house. He knew exactly where they all were. The man with the black coat said that the thugs were a threat, and it was better to deal with them early. The other man, surprised, tried to protest, saying he hadn't even ordered him to do anything. The man with the black coat explained that it was because of the summon's 3 laws, Article 3. A blue system window appeared, detailing the 3 laws of the summoned. 1. The summoned protects the summoner's life as the top priority. 2. The summoned obeys the summoner's orders absolutely. 3. If Law 1 and Law 2 conflict, Law 1 is prioritized. He explained that this means absolute obedience, but if the summoner is in danger, it can be ignored. The man with the black coat asked, "So, for example, if I ordered you to kill me, you would disobey?" The man with the black coat and dark hair, along with a small chibi version of himself, both firmly said, "Nope." "That is correct." The young man in the gray hoodie argued that there was no actual threat, so the decision felt arbitrary. The man in the black coat agreed that Article 3 could be interpreted broadly. He explained that, in his view, those people were risk factors who would eventually threaten a summoner's life, making his judgment very reasonable. The young man was horrified, yelling, "No, such a psycho-like." He quickly apologized, but the man in the black coat just laughed, saying he'd heard such words often. The young man looked disturbed, realizing that while he understood the logic, this behavior was extremely dangerous. He imagined walking down a crowded street with John Cossack. If John accidentally bumped into someone who looked like a thug, the thug would probably say something threatening. The thug would shout, "Do you want to die? I'll pluck your eyes out." The young man knew that usually such threats didn't mean actual harm, but according to Cossack's interpretation, threats like "I'll pluck your eyes out" meant exactly what they said. The young man's face twisted in fear, realizing he had been wrong about Cossack's nature. Cossack, with his red hair pulled back, knelt down, admitting he was wrong. The young man, confused, asked why he was suddenly kneeling and told him to get up. He explained that murder wasn't for his sake and could even get him into trouble. Cossack, with a small smile, said no one would know. The young man pressed him, asking if he wouldn't do it again. Cossack replied that he couldn't guarantee that unless a knife was actually at his throat. The young man warned him about killing people based on mere speculation. Cossack shouted, promising he would judge the situation well. The young man, with his messy black hair and light gray hoodie, looked at Cossack, who had short reddish-brown hair and was wearing black and dark gray armor. He started to ask, "By the way, summoner, perhaps?" Cossack, looking down at him, simply asked, "Yes." The young man then asked, "Do you not climb the tower?" The young man looked surprised. He clenched his fist and thought, right, it's true that climbing the tower is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He imagined a terrifying, monstrous creature with glowing red eyes and sharp teeth, surrounded by green energy, standing in front of a massive, glowing purple tower. He thought, honestly, I'm scared. It's dangerous and I could die. He then asked Cossack, was there another summoner? I mean someone who summoned you like me, Mr. Cossack. Cossack smiled subtly and replied, there was. The man with the dark, messy hair looked down, admitting he felt ashamed. He knew someone with an awakened ability was supposed to save the world, but he just didn't have the courage to risk his life. Cossack, the man with long reddish-brown hair and a black outfit, looked at him and said, Summoner Bong is truly. The messy-haired man finished his sentence, I know too. That I'm a pathetic coward. Suddenly, Cossack's face lit up with a huge, joyful smile. You are truly the best summoner. He cheered, startling the messy-haired man. Cossack leaned in close, still beaming, and asked, what is the greatest virtue for a summoner? It is safety first. The messy-haired man, still a bit confused, mumbled, yees. Cossack explained that if the messy-haired man died, his summons couldn't come out either. The messy-haired man wondered if that was how it all connected. Cossack, now with a wide, confident grin, told him not to worry, promising to handle all the dirty work. Cossack told Summoner Bong to just keep playing it safe and live to a ripe old age. Bong slept fitfully, worried about whether he should climb the tower or not. He thought about his life, and how tower climbing wasn't for someone like him. He figured he should just let the debt disappear along with the debt collectors. He decided he would just do safe and ordinary work. He stepped outside, stretching, when his phone vibrated in his pocket. It was his father, asking if he was doing his rehab diligently. Bong said yes, but then his father told him he had to move to a bigger hospital. Bong was shocked, asking if his mom was getting fired. His father quickly reassured him, telling him not to worry too much, but also scolding him for not contacting them. Bong promised to visit and eat with them next time, telling his dad not to overwork himself. He hung up the phone, a thoughtful expression on his face. Back in his room, Bong Jahyuk, a summoner, now wore a full safety personnel outfit, complete with a hard hat and a reflective vest, and held a baseball bat. He was ready to enter the tower. He planned to just take a quick peek at the first floor and leave, thinking he could exit immediately if it got dangerous. He realized it was perfect since he was off from all his part-time jobs that day. He decided to summon something first, but then he paused, thinking he didn't necessarily have to insist on the crazy Cossack summon. He wondered if he could try summoning someone else. Maybe a legendary super rare rank would pop up. But a blue system window popped up, telling him that random summon was unavailable. Another window appeared, showing a cooldown of 28 days, 11 hours, 8 minutes, and 37 seconds remaining. He realized there was a cooldown, and it was for a whole month. Eventually, a figure appeared in a flash of purple light. It was the crazy Cossack, a man with short reddish-brown hair and a long dark coat, who looked like a loyal servant. He bowed deeply and said, Summoner Bong, thank you for the 5 stars. Loyalty, just give me orders. Bong thought to himself, he doesn't know I tried to summon someone else, right? He nervously welcomed the Cossack. Bong then declared, I've decided. Let's enter the tower. The Cossack, looking excited, exclaimed, Ooh, already? You are brave. Bong quickly corrected him, and no, I cancel what I just said. You must not be brave. He explained, don't worry, I just plan to get a taste of it appropriately and get out. The Cossack's eyes sparkled, as expected, you are wise. The Cossack then told Bong, now, throw away these crude things. He then threw aside Bong's shovel and a metal bar, declaring, instead, I will become Summoner Bong's tool and hunting dog. The Cossack, a man with short reddish-brown hair and a confident smirk, pointed at Bong. He promised to drive comfortably and safely, telling Bong not to lift a finger once they were inside the tower. Bong, looking a little overwhelmed, could only manage an okay. Suddenly, a bright blue system window popped up, asking, would you like to enter the Korea Black Tower? Below it, another panel showed that only the first floor was currently accessible. The Cossack, beaming, asked, then shall we go? Bong, still a bit dazed, gave a quick yup, as the Cossack reached out to touch the system window. With a flash of light and a high-pitched sound, a new blue system window appeared, declaring, entering Korea Black Tower first floor. The world around them dissolved into a dizzying tunnel of glowing blue and purple lines, like they were being pulled into a digital vortex. Bong, wide-eyed and screaming, started to fall through the swirling light. The Cossack, story is crazy, but you know what sucks? Waiting a week for the next chapter. Stop waiting, and get the Dungeon Crawler Carl audiobook for completely free on Amazon. It is the highest-rated series I have ever seen. With over 180,000 positive reviews, it has everything we love. Dungeons, systems, and a crazy talking cat. And the best part, it usually costs $25, but you get it for free. And it is yours to keep forever. Click the Amazon link in the description to start listening. He landed with a jolt, finding himself in a strange, barren landscape. A massive hexagonal energy shield shimmered before him, and he realized he was inside the Black Tower. The first floor was nothing but a desolate wasteland. He looked around, still wearing his construction hard hat and vest from his part-time job, feeling utterly overwhelmed. He suddenly felt sick to his stomach, a wave of nausea washing over him. The man with the sword gently patted his back, asking if he was okay and telling him he'd get used to it soon. They then walked past a glowing blue hexagonal shield, which seemed to be a safe zone, and the man told him it was time to move beyond it. He followed the man, feeling a bit nervous. Suddenly, a system window appeared, telling him that his physical abilities had improved according to his level, and that characteristics and combat skills were now available for use. He realized this was what it felt like to be a player. Even though he was only level 1, he felt surprisingly strong. Another system window popped up, showing his first floor mission, Defeat 5 tough-skinned fatty grubs within 2 hours. Failure meant death or forfeiting the mission. He looked up and saw them. Several large, grub-like creatures with tough-looking skin scattered across the dry, barren landscape. He remembered hearing that the first floor was all about testing one's skills. These tough-skinned fatty grubs were like a test, right? They barely attacked, but their skin was so tough that they were incredibly hard to kill. He knew other players struggled, taking about 30 minutes to catch just one of these creatures. He clenched his fist, realizing he was a player now too. He decided to try catching just one first. His companion, a man with short brown hair and a dark tunic, looked at him with concern, wondering if he really needed to suffer unnecessarily. He walked up to one of the giant grubs, which lay mostly still on the ground. Then he remembered he didn't have a weapon. He'd need to borrow one from Mr. Cossack. Suddenly, a huge, segmented worm-like creature burst from the ground, its body glistening with slime. It was massive, with a glowing green core visible through its translucent skin. The young man, wearing a yellow hard hat and a green vest, looked up in shock, his eyes wide with fear. He stumbled backward, trying to get away from the monstrous worm. Just then, Mr. Cossack appeared, giving a thumbs up and a wide, confident smile. He was a man with short brown hair, dressed in dark, practical clothing with a belt full of knives. "Wise decision," he said, clearly ready for action. Mr. Cossack then charged forward, a blue aura surrounding him as he moved with incredible speed towards the giant worm. "Now then," he said, preparing for battle. Mr. Cossack unleashed a powerful blue energy attack that sliced right through the giant worm, causing green blood and guts to explode everywhere. He then called out, telling the others to stand back for a moment. He was just getting started. With a determined look, Mr. Cossack, a man with short red-brown hair and wearing dark leather armor, crouched down, ready to strike again. Blue energy crackled around his hands. He launched a barrage of sharp, blue energy blades that streaked across the battlefield. These blades tore through the remaining pieces of the giant worm, shattering them into smaller chunks. As the last pieces of the worm exploded in blue energy, Mr. Cossack stood tall, looking back at the others with a confident smirk. The young man, still in his construction gear, watched in awe as the worm dissolved into blue light. He couldn't believe it was an instant kill. Suddenly, a system screen popped up, announcing he had succeeded in the first floor mission and leveled up, earning 100G of magic stone. It also told him he achieved an S++ clear rank for the first floor of the Black Tower in Korea, and as a reward, he was given a platinum badge. He couldn't help but feel excited, thinking this was too easy and that he might become rich soon. Back in the real world, a woman with short black hair and a business suit stood in a modern office, looking at a blue system screen that had just appeared. She tilted her head, wondering what was happening. In another location, a woman with long brown hair tied in a ponytail, wearing a black athletic outfit, was on the floor, catching her breath as a similar blue system screen appeared before her. She let out a relieved sigh. Meanwhile, a man with short brown hair and a beard, wearing a red shirt, sat in a dimly lit bar. A blue system window appeared before him, and he just stared at it quietly. The blue system windows popped up for everyone in South Korea, signaling the end of the first floor. The system announced that they could now challenge the second floor and that they were exiting the Black Tower. Suddenly, a bright light enveloped the players, sending them back home. The man with the curly hair and construction vest found himself back in his kitchen, holding his phone. He was shocked, realizing it only took 5 minutes to clear the first floor. Suddenly, the man with the red shirt from the bar appeared in the kitchen, smiling widely. "Summoner Bong, good work," he said. Summoner Bong, still surprised, replied, "No, I didn't do anything, I just stood still." The man laughed. "That was the right thing to do. I heard others were already finished, exhausted from beating grubs to death. But this was too simple." The man then showed Summoner Bong a small, glowing blue crystal and a silver badge. "And this is a magic stone." Summoner Bong had never seen one in real life before. He knew that magic stones were super important in the current industry. They used to be really expensive when the towers first appeared, but now the price had dropped a lot, costing about 50,001 for 100 grams. Since it had been 20 years since the Black Towers showed up all over the world, most regular people knew a lot about them. But then Summoner Bong looked at the silver badge again. "But a platinum badge? I've never even heard of something like this," he wondered. The man just smiled, ignoring Summoner Bong's confusion. "Anyway, I earned 50,001. And in just 3 minutes." He cheered, feeling pretty good about himself. "I'm going to watch some drama now, Tilda." Later, Summoner Bong called out Mr. Cossack. "Let's eat." He had prepared a delicious meal of sliced meat and noodles. Cossack sniffed the air, his nose twitching. He thought he smelled something spicy. He asked Summoner Bong if it was spicy pig's trotters. Summoner Bong, a young man with messy black hair and a gray hoodie, replied that he ordered regular ones because Cossack couldn't handle spicy food. Cossack realized Summoner Bong was right. He really had zero tolerance for spicy food. Cossack then enthusiastically declared that he would eat well, thanking Summoner Bong for his grace. Summoner Bong just mumbled that there was no grace involved. As they ate, Summoner Bong asked Cossack if that was his usual way of speaking, noticing he shortened his sentence endings. Cossack explained that it was because he had spent a long time with his previous summoner. Summoner Bong jokingly asked if it was like an ex-boyfriend boyfriend's influence, then corrected himself, saying it was an ex-summoner's influence. Cossack, looking a bit embarrassed, offered to fix his speech if it was uncomfortable to hear. But Summoner Bong laughed, saying it was fun to keep hearing it. He found Cossack's unique way of speaking quite amusing. Summoner Bong, with a sly grin, said it wasn't uncomfortable at all. In fact, he found Cossack's unique way of speaking quite amusing and wanted to keep hearing it. He then looked up at the towering structure, a determined look on his face, and declared that it was doable. The next morning, a new routine began for Summoner Bong. He decided to give up his day labor part-time job. Instead, his schedule now revolved around coming home and tower clearing with John Cossack. It was a perfect plan, he thought. Later, as Cossack performed a dance, Summoner Bong watched, a little bewildered. Cossack, pleased, said he was glad Summoner Bong was satisfied. Summoner Bong, a young man with messy dark hair and a gray hoodie, looked thoughtful. He wondered if the satisfaction rating was really that important. Cossack, a man with reddish-brown hair and a stern expression, explained that a better rating brought more benefits. He said things like faster summoning, higher ranks, and more opportunities to be called upon. Suddenly, a blue system window appeared, announcing their entry into the second floor of the Black Tower in Korea. Both Summoner Bong and Cossack were enveloped in a bright blue light as they were transported. Another blue system window popped up, detailing their new mission. Defeat 10 quick-witted fatty grubs within 2 hours. Failure meant death or forfeiting the mission. Summoner Bong looked around, surprised. He knew these grubs were tricky because they moved so fast. Cossack, however, was already moving, saying he was faster than he thought. Summoner Bong just stood there, wondering what he should even do on this floor. Cossack told him there wouldn't be time to think about it. Cossack, with his short red hair and black outfit, smiled and said he'd finish things quickly, calling it a 3-minute cut. He promised to escort Summoner Bong home right after. Summoner Bong, excited by the prospect of going home, cheered loudly, asking if they could get chicken and beer. Cossack, still smiling, thanked him, then unleashed a powerful blue energy attack slicing through the air. The attack hit the giant monster, tearing it apart into glowing blue fragments. He looked shocked, a blue system window appearing before him. He had succeeded in the second floor mission, leveled up, and received 200 magic stone as a reward. Another system notice popped up, telling him he had achieved an S++ clear rank for the second floor of the Black Tower. This S++ clear also awarded him a platinum badge. He couldn't believe it was S++ again. He wondered if it was supposed to be this easy. A platinum badge materialized in front of him. He thought it was all happening too fast, but also realized he could easily complete these missions and still make it to his morning part-time job. A new blue system window appeared, showing the third floor mission. Defeat 10 ice-cold fatty grubs. Suddenly, a man with short brown hair and a big smile appeared, telling him his landing had improved. Another system window popped up, confirming he had succeeded in the third floor mission, leveled up, and received 300 magic stone as a reward. A bright blue explosion filled the screen, and another system notice appeared, stating he had achieved an S++ clear rank for the third floor of the Black Tower. A system message popped up, telling him that for his S++ clear, he was getting a platinum badge. Then another message chimed in, letting him know he had succeeded in the fourth floor mission. He looked down at the glowing rewards on the ground and pumped his fists in excitement. He moved on, clearing the fifth floor mission as well. Another system message appeared, confirming he had now collected 5 S++ rank platinum badges. Because he had accumulated 5 platinum badges, the system awarded him a special perk. He stared at the blue screen, wondering what kind of perk it could be. The system revealed his special perk, Awakening Trait Enhancement. This meant that due to the perk's effect, he could now summon 2 things at once. Bong Jae-hyuk saw a blue system window appear in front of him. It listed his name, his affiliation with the Black Tower in the Republic of Korea, and his level. 6. He had a trait called Summoning that allowed 2 simultaneous summons. His trait skills included Designated Summon, Random Summon, and Summon Release. His general skills were Tower Entry once per day and Tower Exclusive Inventory. He had no combat skills. He thought about the 2 simultaneous summons. That means I can keep one more person with me, he wondered. He knew that John Cossack alone was already steamrolling everything. He then saw 5 glowing, silver masks appear before him. An S++ clear reward. This is insanely good, he thought, feeling excited. He imagined himself as a runner, wearing a white and blue tank top with the number 1 on it, a green sash around his waist, and a triumphant smile. He thought this could turn into a long-term battle going forward, but he'd be much safer. He looked at the blue system window again. To use Random Summon again, the cooldown was more than 20 days. He decided he would hold out carefully until then. He saw a vision of a warrior with brown hair and a sword, surrounded by a red glowing aura. He knew he had to keep breaking through with S++. He thought, tomorrow is another climb to the 6th floor. Next day, we find ourselves at the Awakeners Management Administration building in Hanam-dong, Seoul. It's a large, modern building, gleaming under a bright blue sky. Inside, a woman with short black hair, wearing a dark suit, stands before 2 men seated on a couch. One of the men, with dark hair and a serious expression, is deep in thought. He wonders when the next announcement will come. Morning, evening, or maybe late at night. The woman, Lee Min-ae, the deputy director of the Awakena's management, turns to him. "You're thinking about the announcement, aren't you?" she asks. The man, Jian Guangil, the team leader, jumps in surprise. "Whoa, Director Lee, I told you to stop trying to read people like that." Lee Min-ae just smiles, saying, "I can't help it when I'm curious." Jian Guangil asks if there's a new announcement. Lee Min-ae confirms, yes, it's the Black Tower Korea 6th floor S++ rank clear. He groans again. The Black Tower's global announcements kept ringing, each one celebrating an S++ rank clear. It was definitely one person, clearing floors 1 through 6 in order. A man with gray hair and a black suit thought about the mysterious player, whose shadowy figure with glowing eyes appeared in his mind. He wondered if this player would clear the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th floors too. If every floor from now on was cleared at S++ rank, it would be a game changer. He slammed his hand on the table, a loud thud echoing through the room. Bald man in a gray suit and red tie, Park Byung-soo, the director of the Awakena Management Administration, spoke to a man with gray hair and a woman with long black hair. He reminded them that Korea's highest record until now was only rank A. They hadn't even known higher ranks existed, or that an S++ clear could trigger a global announcement until now. He explained that in today's international society, player nationalization was quite common, with secret abductions. He looked serious, telling they had to find this player immediately before another country snatched them away. He told them to keep a close watch on every new player who registered. 2 days later, a man with dark red hair and a black outfit, wearing pink rubber gloves, was washing dishes. He was Mr. Cossack. A young man with messy black hair and a gray hoodie stood nearby. Cossack said he was on the 8th floor, and the young man agreed. Cossack bragged that he was clearing 1 floor a day without any problems. The young man thought that up to the 11th floor was basically the beginner zone, so everything was going smoothly. They walked through a misty forest. A blue system window appeared, showing their 8th floor mission: defeat 10 red thorn frog warriors. Suddenly, a giant purple tongue shot out from one of the frogs, ready to attack. Before the tongue could reach him, a streak of blue energy shot out, slicing through the air. The energy blade cut through the frog's tongue and continued on, hitting multiple other frogs and taking them down in a single swift attack. It was the red-haired man, his sword glowing with the same blue energy, having just completed a powerful swing. A system window popped up, announcing that the 8th floor mission was successfully completed. He leveled up, earned magic stones, and received 5 tower-exclusive healing potions. The system also announced an S-rank clear on the Black Tower's 5th floor in Korea, awarding him a platinum badge. Later, the red-haired man, still wearing his black outfit, leaned against a wall and told the curly-haired man, "Good work today." The curly-haired man in a gray hoodie and blue pants replied, "I don't even do anything every day." The red-haired man chuckled, "Just entering the tower is the hardest part." The curly-haired man smiled, "Still, thanks to you, we always climb easily." The red-haired man warned, "Don't let your guard down. After the last 10th floor, it won't be so easy." He then added, "Anyway, another 3-minute clear today. Should I give Gawback a present?" The red-haired man pulled out some money and handed it to the curly-haired man. He told him he still had plenty of time left to have fun before coming back, and to eat something tasty but not cause any trouble. The curly-haired man, looking shocked, refused the money. He said he couldn't leave his friend, the summoner Bangu, alone and would just watch TV at home. The red-haired man then suggested they order some chicken, and the curly-haired man, now wearing a chicken hat, excitedly agreed. The red-haired man, now also wearing a chicken hat, decided to order something good, specifically a non-spicy honey cheese butter chicken. While waiting, he decided to check the rewards from their climb. A new reward appeared, a tower-exclusive healing potion. He thought it should go to Cossack. He then looked at a pile of magic stones, realizing he had 6 kg of them in his inventory, which was worth about 8 million won. He decided it was time to start cashing them out. It was day 10 of climbing the Black Tower, and he was already approaching the 10th floor. He felt so tired, he just wanted to quit his part-time job. He thought he'd just dip his toes into the tower, but he'd been climbing 1 floor a day without missing a beat. Even the 8th floor with its man-eating corpse flower was easy. He knew it was only easy for him, not for Cossack. Clearing missions was a given, and getting S++ clear rewards was just a bonus. He thought the whole thing was unbelievably sweet, even reassuring. He imagined Cossack raising a champagne glass and toasting to his county eyes. He almost forgot that Cossack was a crazy assassin who had killed 3 people. A blue system window appeared, showing that Cossack's satisfaction rating had been set to 5 points. Because of his continued top ratings, Cossack's manifestation time increased by 1 hour. He was surprised and thought it was totally worth giving the highest score. Cossack, a man with short brown hair and a black outfit, happily told him that he could now support him for 1 more hour. He struck a cute pose, promising to take care of everything. Then, a series of blue system windows appeared, announcing his entry into the Black Tower's 10th floor in Korea. It also stated that his physical abilities had been enhanced to match his level, and his trait and combat skills were now available. He looked around at the glowing hexagonal patterns on the ground, feeling a strange energy. He realized that the recalibration of his physical abilities within the tower was real, and he felt an overflowing strength and a mysterious mana stirring inside him. He wondered if he, Bong Jahyok, had become an untamable wild horse. Suddenly, A man with short brown hair and a serious expression, wearing a dark outfit with metal gauntlets, appeared next to him. This was Mr. Cossack, his summon. Mr. Cossack offered to help, but Bong Jae-hyuk, who looked like a horse with a human body, immediately refused. He said if his summon got even a scratch, he'd be devastated. He told Cossack not to worry, because he was already a wild horse himself, and Cossack's encouragement was more than enough. But Cossack insisted, saying this time he absolutely had to fight alongside him. Cossack stared at the giant, glowing green egg, its surface covered in a grid pattern. He could see a single, slitted eye peering out from within. Suddenly, the egg burst open, and a massive praying mantis-like creature, bright green with huge yellow eyes, emerged with a powerful screech. The mantis towered over the two men. Cossack, his eyes wide with disbelief, realized that this terrifying creature was a 10th-floor monster. He couldn't help but wonder how any other players had managed to defeat something so monstrous. Cossack thought about how sending two people to fight mere insects was a bit of a blow to human pride. But then he corrected himself, saying, "No, it hurts. My pride hurts a lot." The mantis monster, its compound eyes glowing with an eerie blue light, prepared to attack. A tiny, adorable version of the hero, wearing a white shirt and holding golden pom-poms, cheered him on, shouting, "Go, Cossack." The mantis monster, a towering green creature with glowing purple energy, lunged forward, ready to strike. But the hero was faster. He moved with incredible speed, a blur of motion as he dodged the attack and spun around, his weapon glowing with blue energy. His eyes, now a piercing blue, narrowed in fierce determination. He unleashed a flurry of attacks, slicing through the monster's limbs with glowing blue slashes. The mantis monster shattered into pieces, its body dissolving into light. A blue system window appeared, announcing his success. "You have successfully completed the 10th floor mission. Level up. Reward magic stones 1 kg. A blue system window popped up, announcing that he had achieved an S++ rank clear on the Black Tower's 10th floor in Korea. As a reward for this amazing feat, he received a platinum badge. He leaped into action, dual-wielding his swords and attacking with incredible speed. Another system message appeared, confirming the mission was complete and he could now challenge the 11th floor. Then, the system announced he was exiting the Black Tower. He received another kilogram of magic stones, bringing his total to 5 kilograms. He realized that since he already had 5 platinum badges, he was getting close to a special perk. A system window reminded him that a perk was granted upon accumulating 10 platinum badges. That's right, he thought, remembering the upcoming reward. He wondered what kind of perk he would get. A blue system window popped up, detailing the perk. He could copy one skill from a summoned entity. It listed several skills like Blade Explosion, Shock Break, and Shadow Step. He asked if it was skill copying. The man with red hair, who was his summoned entity, answered, "Summoner Bong, without question it's Shadow Step." He asked what? The man continued, "A skill copy popped up, right? Don't even think about it. You have to learn Shadow Step." He asked for the reason, and the man explained, "It's convenient for running away. If something happens to me, I can move fast and quietly." He thought, running away. What does he take me for? Do I look like someone who'd abandon everyone just to survive alone? Then, 2 blue system windows appeared announcing, "Skill acquired, Shadow Step," and Shadow Step has been registered in the status window. The man with the red hair told him that fast footwork was super important in a fight, and that footwork was the life of a fight. Our hero, who had just learned Shadow Step, really wanted to believe him. He tried out his new skill, yelling Shadow Step, as he moved with flash step footwork. But then he immediately crashed to the ground, looking dizzy. He grumbled that if summoning worked, this should work too, but the skill had no consistency and didn't work at all. The red-haired man agreed, saying he didn't know what was going on, but our hero was absolutely right. It was now day 11 of tower climbing. Our hero was on the phone, looking a little flustered. He introduced himself as Bong Jae-hyuk and explained that he was calling because he had awakened his powers. The person on the other end congratulated him and said that government support staff would visit his home. He started to give his address, and the person on the phone thanked him for his cooperation, saying they would head over as soon as possible. He drained, contacted the Awakener's administration to sell his magic stones. This was the bravest decision of his 25-year life. Meanwhile, a sleek black car pulled up to a building. A woman with long black hair, wearing a dark suit, got out and walked towards the entrance. Inside, another man with short dark hair and a similar suit, Director Lee, greeted her. "You're here, Director Lee," he said. "How was the Awakener who contacted us from Daegu yesterday?" The woman replied, "I don't think they're the owner of the S-Rank wreck this time either." Director Lee wondered if such a person even existed. He then told her, "Another awakening request came in today, Team Leader Jian." She asked, "Will you come too?" He responded, "Yes, we have to run ourselves ragged while we can." He declared, "Let's go. If it's them, we must bring them into the elite team, even if we have to pour out the best benefits the administration can offer." Back at his home, Bong Jae-hyuk was frantically cleaning, wiping down the floor and hanging up clothes, making sure everything was spotless for his visitors. A knock came at the door and a voice called out, "Is anyone home?" Awakener Management Administration. Bong Jae-hyuk's heart pounded. "They're here," he thought, a wave of nervousness washing over him. He opened the door to find a man and a woman in sharp suits standing outside. The man with short dark hair and a serious expression carried a briefcase. The woman with long dark hair stood beside him. Hello. The place is a bit small, but please come in, Bong Jae-hyuk stammered. The man introduced himself. Nice to meet you. I'm team leader Jeon Gwang-il from the administration. This is Deputy Director Lee Mina. She's powerful too, so feel free to ask anything, Jeon Gwang-il added. Bong Jae-hyuk's face flushed. There's a woman too. I'm even more nervous now, he thought. The two visitors stepped inside. Excuse us, Lee Mina said softly, then quickly added, I see, be Bong Jae-hyuk. Suddenly, Lee Mina leaned in close to Bong Jae-hyuk, her face just inches from his. He blushed, thinking, whoa, too close. She stared intently at him and said, it's you, isn't it? The new S-rate hunter. Want more content right now? Check out Dungeon Crawler Carl for completely free on Amazon. It's the highest rated audiobook with over 135 hours of pure dungeon chaos. Grab the first book completely free with the Amazon link in the description.